Hello! This is my first ever vlog. But yeah, I've never done this before. Being a radio presenter, didn't have to look at a camera. So it was easier to just talk into a microphone and not worry about people seeing you. But I don't have that luxury anymore. I don't have that opening. So I thought, well, you know what? I'm going to make a video. So I'm going to try and keep it as unbiased as I can. Simply because I'm not here to support either or to bash anybody, but just to give my view as to what's happened over the last few weeks, couple of months or so. I have to say that here in the United States, when one is voting for a president, things get too heated. Now, I understand everyone has strong opinions and strong views, and quite rightly so. But what I dislike is the name calling, the mud flinging. It's not nice. We're supposed to be humans that care about each other. We're supposed to be humans that are adults. One has to be the age of 18 prior to them able to vote. So therefore, one should be an adult. What I found is that people over the last few weeks or so have been acting worse than children. Especially like in the name calling. I mean, this is little school stuff. Like you don't even, primary school kind of rhetoric. And it's sad to see that even educated people who really should know better are there flinging mud at a certain candidate. I feel that people from the right have been flinging mud at the left, and the people on the left flinging at the right. I have to say that it appears, I'm not saying this is how it is, but from my experience, it appears that the left throws so much accusations at the right, and not saying the right don't throw things back, but in my experience, I found that the left are more vocal with their rhetoric and very pointed, and it's sad. It really is sad. It doesn't matter who I supported. It doesn't matter at the end of the day because I can't vote here. So my opinion and my views don't mean anything here at all. I am able to vote back in the UK as I'm a United Kingdom citizen, and therefore I do my duty and I vote for the government that I'd like to run the country. And that's the biggest difference between here and there. In Britain, there is the House of Commons, House of Lords, and the monarch, of course, who appoints the government. So the winner of the party becomes, sorry, let me start again. The party who everyone votes for to become the government, the person who leads that party becomes the Prime Minister. You're not voting for the Prime Minister, you're voting for the government party you'd like to have in power. Because the Prime Minister can change. A good example of that was back in the 80s, where Margaret Thatcher was the Prime Minister, and then John Major became the next Prime Minister. Again, both have been, both were the Conservative Party. Another example is Labour Party. We had Tony Blair as the Prime Minister, and then he stepped down, and that was then passed to Gordon Brown. Nobody voted Gordon Brown to be Prime Minister, but because he was the leader of the Labour Party, he by default became the Prime Minister. So one doesn't vote for the person that they want to be in charge of the country. They vote for the party. And then the leader of the party will go to the king and say that they have won the general election, and the king will then invite them to form a government in his name. And that's what happens. Whereas here you have three branches. I believe you have the House, the Senate, and then the President. So there's three branches, if you like, where things can go wrong. For example, before you had the House being Republican, Senate being Democrat, and the president being Republican, for example. I don't know the facts and figures. I'm not really wanting to go into detail because my whole point here is not that. My entire point is that when one votes for a president to represent the country, both at home and abroad, that person needs to be somebody who's confident, who's assertive, and somebody who can, stand up for the country. For example, President Putin, of course, as we know, isn't probably the best, to use it lightly, president in the whole world. He really isn't. The same as Kim Jong-un over in North Korea. These people aren't, backseat people who are just, these people are really, really nasty. So it needs somebody strong to stand up to these people. And that's who a president should be. Somebody who represents the entire country, who can hold their own, who can stand up to these people and communicate in an assertive way, in an assertive manner. So that's really my take on things. Of course, the president also needs to have the best intentions of the country. Best intentions, is that right? I think it is. The best intentions of the whole country in mind too, because the people rely on that person to listen to them and act accordingly. But going back to how I feel about the whole rhetoric between the left and the right, we're supposed to be adults. We're supposed to want democracy. And in democracy, voting is a very important thing. Because when you vote for that president, for example, then you are voting for, my words are escaping me, but you're voting, right? And whether you agree with the person that the other person's voting for shouldn't matter. Voting is a personal thing. You don't have to say who you're voting for. You really don't. But on the other hand, name calling, mudslinging, is just childish beyond childish. People should make their own minds up without any external influences. I have to say, here in the States, most of the media channels are very, very left-leaning. I believe there's only one news outlet, Fox News, which is for the right. The rest are all for the left. And I've been watching a lot of these news programs and seen a lot of left-leaning bias, which is disheartening because there should be equal. There should be an equal amount of left and an equal amount of right media so that people can make an informed decision. I find that if most of the media is for the left, then it's not really informed. There's too much bias going on. And that's sad because people need to be educated enough to make their own minds up. And having so many media outlets that are on the left, it's kind of influencing people way more to be left-leaning because there's not many right-wing media outlets. So that's the unfairness I see here. Back home, as far as I'm aware, the BBC, which is the British Broadcasting Corporation, the national television news outlet, they should be unbiased. However, I do see some bias on the left, but for the most part, they're generally unbiased. And that is kind of informative and enables you to make an informed decision as to who you want to vote for or the government you want to vote for. So all this mudslinging has really got me depressed, upset, because like I say, we're all supposed to be adults. It just appears that people aren't. It appears that these strong opinions take over their educated minds and decide to just go out there and bash each other. And I don't appreciate that. I don't respect that. And I just think that everyone needs to just take a step back, look at each other and be like, you're a human, I'm a human. Yes, we want what's best for the country, but we don't need to be name calling and battering each other down. I've never experienced this in my entire life. It is very, very depressing. So yeah, that's where I'm at with this. And I just felt it's important to video this because whenever one writes, the reader can't always tell the body language, the emotion, and the facial expressions. I know my facial expressions aren't so good right now because I'm not using a script. I have no teleprompt. I'm just talking from my mind and my heart. So that's why I'm a little bit all over the place, I guess. But I thought making a video, people can clearly see my body language and the way I'm saying things, that is not to bash either side. It's just to give you my opinion. And in free speech, I believe I have that right to express my opinions, and I haven't been biased to one side or the other. I believe that both sides are as bad as each other. And excuse me, the people here have spoken. To me, it feels like that the most people that voted for Donald Trump to become president would rather a convicted felon, and as I hear the left say, he's a rapist, misogynist. I don't know, but I don't think everyone on the left knows this. If there's a little bit of information, then I think people expand on that. But I'm not here to debate either or, whether he is, he isn't, I don't care. At the end of the day, people have spoken that they want Donald Trump to be president because the majority of the population here believe that he is going to fix this country from the mess it's in. And I think everyone needs to accept that. Everyone needs to be like, okay, people have spoken, let's drop this rhetoric. Let's be adults and let's just see what happens. Now, part of free speech, obviously, is to say your opinions, and I welcome any opinions to this video. I really do. But I'm not going to debate. That's not what I'm here for. I'm just here because I'm in shock of the rhetoric from both sides and how quite pointed each other have been at each other. So I just felt, rather than write my views on media, I thought if I make a video, you can see how I feel. I don't mean disrespect to anybody at all. I just felt that it was important to discuss my views and my opinions. And if you're an educated person and respectful person, then you'll understand why I did this. And understand that I'm not here to go one way or the other. So yeah, I appreciate your time. I know I've been going on for like 13, 14 minutes. But yeah, I just wanted to air my views on video so that you can see my body language, facial expressions. So I do thank you for your time, and this may be the first of many videos I make. We shall see. Depends what the reaction is. But again, thank you so much and enjoy the rest of your day. Take care.